So try to be a little bit louder. So I will turn up my volume ever so slightly, and it might be even a little bit annoying for others, but it will be the new norm. Hold on, hold on. I think this is closer. Hold on. Okay. Oh, okay, I think this is about it. Yes, okay. I'm going to keep it around this volume, at least for the most part. And I will also try to enunciate a little bit more. Tap into my old singer's things, you know? Used to do that. Had to learn how to speak so you can hear every little thing I'm saying. Though I think my mumble is a little bit of my appeal, you know? You can just listen to the dulcet tones and sit down and not worry as much. But it's the idea that we want to get some things done here. And it's high noon. Anyway, of course, today we're going to be looking at some Am I Overreactings? So let's hop on into it. Things this time around are getting a lot more unique, should I say. Very pointed Am I Overreacting questions that we're seeing so far. So let's do this. 5 minutes in, let's start on up. I'll be sure to edit this a little bit more. Anyway, here we go. Let's get ourselves started. This one by Ring Infection 9225. Am I overreacting for not clapping when my brother's girlfriend announced my baby name at the genders reveal? You see, I'm 29, lady, and 21 weeks pregnant with my first child. We've kept the name a secret. My husband and I agreed on Ivy early on and have just been referring to her as baby to the family. Last weekend, my mom threw a gender reveal party and invited my extended family and my younger brother's girlfriend. They've been dating for about 5 months. After the "it's a girl" part, my mom starts bringing out cupcakes, and my brother's girlfriend, 24, loudly says, "Well, I guess we can finally call her Ivy now." Everyone clapped, and everyone stood up from their seats. They cheered, and they said, "Wow, we'd never heard another person say that before." No, that didn't happen. I just stood there awkwardly. I never told her. I had told my mom in confidence because she was making a quilt with initials. I pulled my mom aside, and she brushed it off as she got excited. I asked my brother's girlfriend later how she knew, and she said, "Your mom told me, and I thought it'd be cute to announce it." And I thought it'd be cute to announce it. Interesting. Anyway, I didn't cry or yell, but I went home early and ignored texts for the rest of the weekend. My mom says I killed the mood, and my brother says I'm being possessive over a name. I'm just so frustrated. I wanted to introduce my daughter's name myself. Am I overreacting? Well, it's a good question to ask, and I have a very simple answer for you. No. No, you are not. This is actually a very interesting situation. It reminds me kind of that situation for Friends where they took the baby's name, of course, because they thought it'd be cool. But, you know, it's different in the fact that a name is a very unique thing, especially for a parent and a first-time parent of anything. We don't know if they're first child, yes. A first-time parent, you have many things in life that are going to be important to you to do, and one of those things I can assume would be to share the name of the child with those that matter to you. You know, people tend to name the child something that means something to them, and they hope will mean something to that child in the future. Maybe it had something to do with some family member that was attending the baby shower or gender reveal or something like that. And that's something that you want to be able to share with them personally, right? On your own as the parent to show how much it really means to you. For example, my wife and I have been thinking about different names as well, every now and then, just out of the blue when you're there for the future, you know, and naming your children with a little bit of the family in there is something that we've been considering as well. I think it's a very personal thing and very affectionate way to show your love for your family and including another person into it and showing that they belong in what has been and what will be in the future, right? So I would personally be a little bit mad if someone took that name and one was making fun of the baby gender reveal if they did, and if they shared it before even my wife was able to, because that meant a lot to her. Coming up with it and the names we chose for the reasons we chose them. To hear it from somebody else is, if it's her hearing that, it'd be definitely jarring. I can imagine how it would be angering, and it's just not exactly fair, you know. So she's not overacting, not overreacting. That is my answer. You can see why. Let's see what the comments think about it. You know, not overreacting. If it was your place to announce a baby's name, not your brother's girlfriend, how is it being possessive over a name when his girlfriend overstepped? Also, possessive over a name that your child is going to possess? You had the right to be considerate of the name that you were going to give your own child, as opposed to someone unrelated, who also technically should not have known what the name was, sharing it. I think that's one of the parts that really gets me about the situation. The fact that she said that she didn't share it with the sister, or the brother's girlfriend, I guess. Future sister-in-law, if they ever go that far, or whatever else. But she specifically said she didn't share it with her. And she just somehow knows that name and decides to share it outward. That in itself is already making it worse. Even if it wasn't such a big deal and you could say she was overacting about the name or being possessive or something, I think she's well within her right to react the way she did because of the fact that she shared something that, one, she should not have known, and she couldn't keep it to herself. You know, that's something that I think even any lady would know. I can't speak for the females, of course, but I feel like it's a pretty common sensey type thing that even a guy would know, that you don't share something from the mom that is told to somebody else in confidence. You know, that's how you treat anybody that's a human that you care about. You keep their secrets that they want to stay secret a secret, right? But you know, she thought the timing was done. She was clear enough to call her the baby name. And again, if you know you're not supposed to know that because the mother told you in confidence as well, sharing that outwardly is wild. Wild. Could not be me. Cannot do that. I'd be talking to my brother. I'd be like, hey, you know, are you sure this one's the one you want to be with? Hey, that's it's not like so bad you gotta break up with them because of your family, but like, that's extremely inconsiderate. And you have to consider that as well if you're gonna be with that person. So if you think that you would trust her with your own personal secrets at that point, I think you were probably a better and more trusting person than I am in that situation. Because I would not trust her with any of the secrets now at that point. It's crazy to think that she'd get away with that and then also consider it to be the OP's fault. No. Attention seekers like your brother's girlfriend and individuals who should have been trustworthy like your mom who broke her word are the ones that killed the mood and not you. Agreed, 100%. Forget about it. It's just an attempt at covering up the shame that they should be feeling. Right. Just avoiding the person or their personal responsibility in the situation for doing something that they know they shouldn't have done. Breaking confidence. Number one. I mean, as a person who's dealt with law things and legal things in law school and whatnot, even in my personal life, breaking confidence in any person's, well, I guess kind of I did with the wife, but breaking confidence is something that matters to me a lot. You know, honesty and trust in people is something that I give out fairly regularly, and for those that break it, that's how you know who you should continue to associate with or not, you know? And even though I'm very open and very friendly to everybody else, I still have to acknowledge those boundaries. Those are extreme boundaries that need to be respected by anybody. Everybody has the right to privacy. Everybody has the right to say things in confidence and not have those used against them or used without their permission. That's what the point of confidence is, having people you trust and care for. If you can't trust your own potentially future family, then where are you after that, right? Unfortunately, that's a situation for a lot of people in life, but it looks like OP might end up being with the brother's girlfriend if she happens to stick around for a while. Shouldn't though. Kick her to the curb. New girl. Bye. Alright, let's check another one. I'm gonna say this is gonna be the next one. Okay. Or by Girl Savvy, am I overreacting for canceling the trip I planned after my brother disrespected me? Well, it's a young folks getting disrespected, talking bads. I'm 19, lady, and I had been working full time before college, so I saved up and planned a weekend cabin getaway for my family. My treat. I paid for everything and was excited to spend time with them, especially since I don't usually get to do something big like this. At a family dinner a week before the trip, my older brother, 24, male, started making snarky jokes about me trying to buy everyone's love and showing off with bakery money. Got that dough? Gotta share the dough. His girlfriend laughed, and honestly, I just sat there embarrassed. I talked to him after that and said it hurt, but he brushed it off like I was being dramatic. I ended up canceling the trip. I didn't want to spend a weekend being made fun of for trying to do something kind. My parents were disappointed, but respected my decision. My brother? He told everyone I'd ruined the trip for no reason. Okay. Alright, buddy. Fast forward, he made poor money choices and recently came to me asking for financial help. He apologized, but it felt super convenient. I said, no. And now he's calling me selfish and got my parents pressuring me to be the bigger person. Am I overreacting for standing my ground? I didn't ask to be treated like a joke. And you should not be. Okay, so let's back it up and unpack this one a little bit, right? So first, she's working full-time before college, saving up her money to be able to do something for her family and to have some money for the college, right? So she's planned a weekend getaway for her family on her dime with no one else asking for it to happen. And they're all happy about it, right? Her parents are happy about it. They're going there, so you're right off to a great start. And then your brother makes a weird, snarky comment, right? He says, wow, man, you can't buy everybody's love with that bakery money, you know? You gotta make the dough. You can't just distribute the dough and expect all of us to love you, you know? And if I heard that, it's a joke. I'd laugh. It's something simple, something small. But for her, you know, she's young. She's working hard. This means a lot to her. She's bringing her family to a thing. And I can understand that. Yeah, I can agree with that reaction. It's completely valid to me, you know? She's embarrassed in the situation. He's making fun of her and the one thing that she decided to do on her own, working hard for, gave it to her family to say, hey, here's a thing for all of us. And he just like, well, you're trying too hard, sis. It's not working. I don't love you anymore for this, so relax. Ultimately, I think at that age, especially when you're considering what you want to do with your life, you are thinking about the relationships you have with your parents, with your friends, with your family, because you're about to have everything change. You're about to go to college and you're about to meet new people, make new friends. Things are going to change. So you might be thinking about stuff like, how much do my parents care about me? How much does my brother care about me? What can I do to show them I appreciate them? And so this trip might be coming out of that type of feeling. And that's something that I think someone at 24 as an older brother would definitely understand, because he probably, as an older brother, has also done things for the family, whether it's putting a lot of sacrificial work into keeping them happy and doing things for them, or even just the sister. He understands what it means to try to show your affection and love for our families. He should. I don't know their personal situation. It might be something different. He might be very mean to her in general and very mean as a person. But I think he definitely should understand. And to respond like this to her, he didn't say anything after he saw her sit there embarrassed. She had to go talk to him and say it hurt. But then he just brushed it off and called her dramatic, right? I mean, it's a little dramatic. To be honest, it's a little dramatic. But she's 19, right? And this is important to her. And that's the main thing that you got to take away from that as a brother, as a sibling, as anybody who cares about anybody, right? If you cared about this little lady, even if she was just a friend, you'd acknowledge that this was important to her. And then you'd also acknowledge that this was important to her parents. In that situation, the simplest way to put it is that it's not your position to undermine it in any way. especially when you can see how excited your parents are about it separately from her. No matter what, if your parents are excited about a trip and going on it with you involved, like what is your point in making fun of that? There's no point where that's gonna come to be like an expected portion of your mind that you should verbalize at that point. I mean, she's not overreacting. Again, all that to say, not overreacting. He was out of line in that situation. Might be a little dramatic. It might, but it means a lot to her, and that's something that comes across clearly, and that's why you're not overreacting because of how much it means to you. It's a subjective interpretation, but in this situation, with how important that is, it's completely within reason to stand your ground and not give him money, because in that case, you'd be trying to buy his love and help him out. And he doesn't seem to appreciate your bakery money. He's making that dough by rising that dough. And he does not seem to appreciate that by his comment. So, hey, give him a little taste of it. It's a little petty, but it's not overreacting. Financial help is important, though. As a person who frequently needs it, this is a very difficult and passionate area of work. There's a spider on my webcam. I left for one weekend. Now there's a spider on my webcam. I don't know what to do right now. Hold on. I'm gonna have to kill it. Oh. Give me a moment. I'm gonna be quiet for a second as I try to murder this thing personally. Okay, I got it. Oh, hey, what up? What up? I assume it wasn't in the camera's view at all. You probably just see me like staring right next to the camera for a bit and doing some random things. I got it though. I got it. It's gone. Actually, it's a little alive. Never mind. Hopefully, it's no longer a little alive. I think we got it. Yep, I finally got it. Oh God.
Let me just show the chat. Hey chat, you ever seen a spider like this? No, dead spider like this. Hold on. Look at that chat. Look at it. Wow. Isn't that pretty?
It's actually a pretty well preserved body right there. I wish there was. I feel like a long time ago I heard that spiders give off some type of pheromone after they die to warn others that it's dangerous in the area or something. I wonder if that's actually a thing. I doubt it, but I wonder if that's actually a thing. It's probably just a common house spider. I should take a picture of it. I have a insect categorization type app, which I could have checked, but yeah, too late for that now. I'm too lazy. And we're also reading Reddit. So let's find out what some things the comments said as I'm back in the saddle. Not an Aranea saddle for my arc. Sad. Anyway, your money, your rules. You aren't an ATM, and respect isn't bought, it's earned. Fair. Pardon me. And now, being the nice dude I am, burps aside, I'm about to burp again. Give me a second. That's a wet sounding burp. That's crazy. Anyway, being the nice guy I am, and just the thought process that I go through, which apparently isn't shared by everybody. My wife has brought to my attention, of course, that this type of view isn't shared by everybody, and usually not the type of point of view that she would have had in those situations. But, you know, giving them more of the chances, the benefit of the doubt, automatically is just kind of where my mind goes for most things. So, in a situation like this, where this might be a one-time occurrence in a while or something, I don't know, I need more context to know if they had a strained relationship so far, if he said stuff like this before. But if it was me and my family, regardless, with the financial needs, I would still try to find a way, at least give him a little bit of something, maybe if I could. But if I just had it around, had enough to help him out, and knew he needed it, I probably would help out. Even though I'd be feeling salty, I'd probably bring it up. Make sure to give him the money with the added little blurb of this is cause I'm trying to buy your love and whatever else. But just some snarky remark like that. But I'd still help out because I feel like that's what you gotta do for your families, Because I feel like they'll do the same for me, and they have so far. But I know it's not sure by everybody. That's just me being me, and I hope that people will return the favors and or the sentiments. We can see how the OP reacts to this, though. Where she responds to that same question, says, "Right? And it's my hard-earned money that's supposed to pay the getaway. It just hurts me that he had to make fun of it." Right? That's a valid reaction. He did not need to make fun of it. Your parents are part of the problem, they say. They should have stood up firmly for you, not wavering or asking you to keep the peace. Oh, there must have been another comment somewhere that we didn't see. Why didn't they ask your brother to apologize to keep the peace? Good point. He is older. He's supposed to know better. He's closer to being a fully formed frontal cortex person, prefrontal cortex person. So he should definitely know better and should be able to listen to the parents if they say, "Hey, you should probably apologize. That wasn't very nice. Keep the peace. You love her. She's going to go off to college. You don't want to have a strained relationship with your own sibling." At the very least, I would have said that to my child if they were beefing with the other one and one's about to go off to college. Big things are going to change for them. And you don't want to see them just come back every few months and hate you more and more, resent you more and more. And you can't really do anything about it because they're off in college, living college life, and you're here doing whatever else you're doing. So talk to them, You may not be able to cure the relationship immediately, but it's better than leaving it where it is currently. And you hurt her currently. So you should do something to fix that. Whether it's apologizing and meaning it. But then, of course, you also know your children. And if he wouldn't have meant it at all when you told him to do it, that's another thing to consider. Chad, I'm a little stuck on that one. That's where I am. Just thinking about it from all angles because that's also where my brain goes as a legally minded individual now. To try and think about it. So, I mean, from his point of view and from their point of view, if perhaps they know their child is less reasonable than everybody else, would you still try to tell him to keep the peace? Or would you then also, like they did, go to the daughter and be like, okay, you're probably more reasonable of the two? If they did say that. They didn't say that much. But, like, if you know she's more reasonable of the two, would you tell her to be the person to be the bigger person and keep the peace and talk to him? Because, again, I feel like at that point, regardless, he should know how to do those things, and you gotta have at least give him some practice in trying, even if he's bad at it or doesn't really care about it. To do that, to be able to function in the real world where he's gonna deal with real people, taking real offense to his actions and having different reactions than his family might. So I would still try to do something with him, but I don't know. Chad, would you try to have that boy do something? Would you go to the girl? It depends. Doesn't matter who's more reasonable to you as a parent, would you think? Are you actually parents at that point that have children old enough to argue with one another and try to get in between that? Can you get in between that? Should you as a parent? These are all questions that just keep coming up, and one day I'll be able to answer those, hopefully. But for now, I can only speculate. That's just a theory, a family theory. Thanks for listening as we're going to continue the whole comment. Whose peace is more important to them? Clearly, their sons. Right, that's what I mean. Like, it comes down to how you want the relationship to be. Ultimately, your action and or inaction as a parent will result in these things. A change in the general peace that the daughter or the son would have, and how they regard you and how much you care about them in these situations. So even if it's something you're like, it's small, that's still small to you, but to her, again, we know it meant a lot. I feel like as a parent, you also could tell that this meant a lot to her. Keep your money safe in the bank. Tell your bro to F all the way off. Work hard, get a degree that pays good money upon graduation. That's impossible now. speaking from experience, get yourself to a position where you can no contact your entire family if they continue to disrespect you, because they will if you let them. That's different. Again, this is the difference isn't in my usual train of thought immediately considering family and my relationship with them than everybody else, but I can tell that this is a more common point of view at the end there, the whole no contact your family if they disrespect you some more. At some point, sure, I can see at some point, a very last resort thing to me, you know. You gotta keep trying. You gotta keep trying until it's just not practical, not feasible anymore. But I wouldn't have that be something I consider earlier on, and then maybe start treating them as if I'm considering it until it's to a point where there's no other option in my mind, you know? So you're kind of in a corner where you have to no contact them for a bit. Let's say they are not helping you fund for your college or anything else like that too. Maybe you consider at that point. But like, I think over a situation like this, I wouldn't start to consider it. Though I'm not sure even my wife would agree as much in her situations. Sometimes people are more quick to no contact or drop people in their lives, family or not, if they don't benefit them in the way that they desire or stick with their desired interactions, should I say. It's harder for me to get to that point. I don't know about you, chat. Feel free to let me know, especially in the comments below. Discuss your family ideas on whether or not you would, in this situation, have started considering no contacts. At what point do you get to a no contact point with your family? I don't think this would be one of those situations for me, for sure. But in the comments, let me know. Because I know some of you have been responding and saying that you wanted more of these Reddit situations. So, I would like to hear more from you guys, of course. Oh, they gave him a award, and he's so happy for the award. Book a different trip with fewer accommodations so there's no room for a brother and ridiculous girlfriend. Wow, interesting. These people are, honestly, it's a meme that Reddit is just so petty about everything, but this is, I think, a good example of that. I would not consider being this petty about these situations. But I can see where people would. And that's the most hilarious thing to me of all of it. Made fun of you because you made some good choices and could make these wonderful plans. He cannot. Men at times find it hard to not be the upper deck of the ship. You outdid him.
Yeah, well, maybe. He's 24. He's probably feeling like he needs to get there.
It's always so interesting to see how fast the words no contact pop up, for sure. I think, yes. Yes. It sure is. What? Oh no, it's a beautiful lady. Hello, beautiful lady. Hi. Anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. I've lost my whole mind now that I've seen a beautiful lady. Let's see.
Cut him off.
Yes, throw the whole man out. Brother, husband, boyfriend, throw the whole man out. Uncle even. Go for it. That's actually a phrase that I think is pretty hilarious that I've heard from my wife before. Just throw the whole man out. Just do it. Just do it. And it's really interesting just seeing how many of these comments really are saying, tell them that the brother-in-law should either like shut up if he wants to go on any trips, or just do it again but cut him out of it, or just cut him off of it. Generally, you act your kindness, you don't owe him a cent, of course. Not overreacting. First, find it very convenient that after he canceled the trip, he needs the money that only her money can fix. I don't think that's necessarily what he said, but alright. Don't lend money to family or friends. It's nothing but trouble, especially someone that has been openly disrespectful. I wonder if that's just a policy people have, generally. Don't lend money to family or friends. To me, this changes a little bit of your dynamics in your daily life and how you consider your family if you just box it in like that. Do nothing. Finances are something that we all either have, don't have, or can relate to, need at some point, whether it's you, whether it's them. And I usually come back to the idea of if you were there, how would you have wanted them to react to you? And so, with that being said, I go out of my way a lot, especially I did during law school, whatnot. That's why people liked me as the president of the organization, and I got some more people to come back and work hard afterwards. But the idea that if I was in your situation, whether I felt I was like too busy or something, I still would want somebody to help me out, to reach out and to try and communicate with me, to try and offer at least a little bit of that help, even if we weren't on the best terms at that moment or in the future or in the past, you know? So that just comes as an unusual thing to me. It's kind of a no-brainer situation. But then seeing these types of comments all the time, where it's always the quick to cut them off to show that your personal, I want to say ego, but that would probably make people feel more defensive if I said it that way. I'm not sure how to phrase it when it's like your interests, I guess, are immediately outweighing everybody else. I guess the idea behind that would be that you can't put on someone else's mask before you put on your own mask, sure. But at the same time, you can't ignore that they need the mask just because you have yours available to you. And in this situation, I would say it's a kind of like analogous to you already having on your mask, seeing that the person is asking and reaching for their mask, cannot get it when they were okay, the crash happens, the masks fall, yours is right in front of you. Theirs is closer to right in front of them, but they cannot reach anymore because, like, let's say the airplane has now been damaged and their seat is further away from their mask than it was a second ago. Even though they could have reached it before, they cannot reach now. You can still reach it, you can still help them out, but like, you've got yours on now, you're helping yourself, you're providing your own resources. Do you extend those resources to them now that they are in need of that mask and you have yours on you? That's the type of situation that I find in my mind when I read these things, to refuse to give them that mask to me is where I put the idea of just cut them off because they've been disrespectful to you beforehand. And I would still have personally tried to give them that mask. Whether or not I regret that in the future, well, I'm taking that chance. I'm trying to help at the moment. I don't think anybody deserves to have cut off be a closer to the first reaction to anything they do. Anyway, this has been a good old talk. I've been out here tirading about it, but thanks for listening. I think not overreacting. Again, we said all that to say, before I got into these big old rants, I said, not overreacting. This meant a lot to you. You expressed that. They know that. They should know that. Your brother definitely would know that this trip meant a lot to you to be able to provide for your family. Your parents would know this as well. They're excited for the trip. Your brother should be excited for the trip. He shouldn't be snarking and demeaning you because you want to pay for a trip with your family. And then, as some people were saying, you could do the trip again, but get rid of him out of the trip and maybe his girlfriend. That is petty as hell, but honestly, if it gets to that point that it's hurt you that much and he refuses to apologize for it and comes back to you and asks for money in the future, maybe you can consider that. Give him some money and just like a tiny little pittance that you would have paid for that trip, and then just take everybody else on the trip. He's got money. He can do what he wants with it. Petty? Yes. But you can do it. Maybe you should. Anyway. Moving on. Next one. This one is one that requires some text reading. What? A small amount of it. Let's see. Hopefully, I'll find one that was less. Okay, this one is less. Some text reading required. Okay, let's find ourselves the context we have here. Context begins now. From Shrek. Am I overreacting for snapping at my friend for joking about my job again? Again. I recently got hold on.
I recently got a full-time job at a small design studio after freelancing for a while. It was a huge step for me, and I genuinely thought that I enjoy the work. And my friend works in corporate and constantly makes little jabs about my career being easy or
Pardon my burp.
not serious. I usually ignore it, but during this convo, I finally said something.
Let us find out what that convo was. Ooh. The voice choice. Hey, well, listen, I didn't realize they'd be a tech person, and now I'm stereotyping everybody in tech. So, unfortunately, I had to roll with it. It's too late. That's who he is now. Anyway. Well, I'm trying to figure out. I assume they would be the blue. Yes, they are the blue. Let's continue the voice.
The client signed off on the rebrand. It was a ton of work, but I'm really proud of how it turned out.
That's cool. Hold on. Let me make him sound like more of a pompous person. Hold on. That's cool. Must be nice to get paid to doodle all day.
It's a bit more than doodling, but yeah, I love it.
I mean no offense. Just hold on. I mean no offense. Triple gas because he has space, comma, space. Suddenly new sentence. Just saying, sounds like fun. Meanwhile, I'm in meetings all day actually working.
Wow. Okay. I'm not sure why you feel the need to downplay what I do.
I was joking. Why are you so sensitive?
Because you say stuff like this all the time. It doesn't feel like a joke when it keeps happening.
Fair point. Does not seem like a joke when it keeps happening. There's a little put in the bottom. I can't tell what it says.
You're supposed to tie your habit and not.
I don't know. I can't pretend.
It's not weird to want my work to be respected. You act like I sit around drawing cartoons for fun when I'm working long hours, just like you.
It just doesn't seem that hard. Sorry. It's not like you're dealing with clients yelling at you all day or managing a whole team, which you kind of do when you're in illustration and things like that nature. Well, that's a separate question. You have no idea what my job actually involves. And for the record, yes, I deal with clients. Yes, I manage deadlines and revisions and creative briefs just like anyone else. Okay, calm down. I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm not even angry. I just want you to stop acting like your job is the only one that's valid or difficult.
Fine. Whatever. You clearly can't take a joke, and now you're making this a big thing.
I'm asking for basic respect. You wouldn't like it if I constantly made fun of your work or told you it sounded boring.
I guess I didn't realize you were so touchy about your job. Sorry for trying to have a light convo. Yes, yes. With a light convo on the snacks, with a little caviar on the side. You didn't appreciate the small things. I bet your wine is as cheap as your attitude. Yes. Your Chardonnay's only 1982. Darling, mine came from 1963. The Great Depression's never hit my wine before. And in fact, depression? Never heard of it. I bet that's something you peons get when you're working on your tech job. Writing, drawing. My child does that. Yours? I bet they could get paid for it too. Just like you. Small choices. Small choices. Oh, but touchy. Did I touch a nerve? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Anyway, that's done. That's ridiculous. Anyway, it's only light for you because you're not the one being put down. Exactly. Exactly. And that so far is all we have in the conversation. Now, with that being done, it's pretty clear in this situation that good old friendo is finding this to be just one big joke after another. Clearly, not the first time. Probably not gonna be the last time with the way they reacted in this situation. I'm sure I'm gonna scroll down and see Reddit be like, don't need that friend, cut him off at this point. Get a new friend. I bet that's gonna happen. Let's find out. Yep, immediately. Not overreacting. That's not your friend. That's your enemy. Your friend is doing the same devaluing tactics that abusers use on their victims to make them feel worthless. Using the classic, you're so sensitive, you can't take a joke combo. Dismisses your feelings and gaslights you, which is true. Do yourself a favor and cut off this friend from now if you want to keep your peace, preserve your mental health and happiness. Well, sometimes I think people need the Lord. People need the Lord. Anyway, sometimes, again, we're back in those situations where I'm just, I guess, too nice in these situations where I would at least try to take him aside, even though you told him something through text here, and it seems like you probably said something before. If you're gonna go as far as trying to cut them off if they continue to disrespect you, or at this situation, take them off to the side and be like, hey, we talking now, right? You and me, let's get something real straight, right? I don't appreciate that. I do not appreciate that. It might be a joke to you, not a joke to me. You're making fun of you. You wouldn't like it if I did it to you, etc. Like they did in those last few texts. I would bring that up to them again, and this time, reiterate it. Make sure you see how they react in person. Look them in the eyes. See if it looks like they care at all about it. Give them every opportunity to defend their actions and try to rehabilitate before you decide, okay, I'll just start distancing myself from this person. And I can agree that at that point, if they continue, I would say, yeah. For your peace and for your self respect at that point, yes, you can begin distancing yourself, cutting them off, finding new friends who do value your work, value you as a person, and don't find the need to devalue you, even if it's something that they find to be little, if it matters to you. Again, much like the last post we were talking about, if it matters so much to you about what you do, your work is a part of your identity that you don't want to make fun of by anybody else, and you've made that clear, then it should be, if they are a friend of yours, something that they care about as well. At that point, yes. Yeah. If they keep doing it, yeah. Yeah, cut them off. Cut them off. Trim them like a foreskin. Do it. It's not even worth keeping them all that time. Might look a little weird, might miss it a little bit, but a little snip ain't too bad. Sometimes some people like to see it that way. You might look better to some people without that person when they snipped off.
That's just it. That's just me. That's just me, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, it's me, Mickey Mouse, cutting you off because you're too sensitive.
Anyway, I lost my train of thought. ADHD is really a hell of a drug. Moving on. Yeah, it really sucks when you think someone is a good friend and decent person, only to find out that they're not at all. I had a friend somewhat like this. I had to come to terms with the fact that she's a very crappy person and was horribly manipulative our whole friendship. I'm glad she's out of my life for good. I don't need enemies with friends like that. Right. You see, these types of situations, when you are in the future, even though it might feel ridiculous now, it does help your peace in the future, right? You feel much better knowing that you have people around you that actually support you, that actually care about you. That's the purpose of having your communities, and the friends you choose, the people and the company you keep are there to help you out. Whether it's telling you things that matter, if it hurts a little bit, sometimes your friends can tell you things that hurt or do things that hurt. But the whole point in the end should be the betterment of you. For a person to just devalue your work for the sake of devaluing your work and then dismiss it as something, that is nothing but a negative interaction. And they initiated that purposefully. And then they devalued and dismissed your concern with that. That's what is indicative of someone that's not willing to put you to the same standard of care they have in their own mind. Unless, of course, you know they have that horrible self image as well and would always make those same jokes about themselves. Maybe you can make some exceptions to that, but that doesn't mean that you can let them do it to you in that situation. You've expressed your opinion, your values, and they are not upholding that. They need to do that. That's what they're friends for. People have those types of thoughts all the time, you know? Everybody in the world's got thoughts about other people and how some people's jobs aren't as important to theirs, or some people's opinions aren't as important as theirs, but you don't have to always say that, especially if you care about the person. Sometimes you keep that to yourself, sir. Can't say he's not going to have it, can't say your other friends aren't going to have that type of idea as well, but if they cared about you, they wouldn't say that out loud and then say, it's not a big deal. You're making it a big deal. Just move on. That's not something a friend who values you does to you. So, not overreacting, underreacting, care more about yourself, care less about this person. Moving on. Next one. I think we're gonna finish with the Redditing after this one, because it's been like a good hour of Redditing. I'll chop this up and throw this portion away. I'm gonna chop this up and throw this portion away, and I'm gonna get there, and then I'm gonna eat a Swedish meatball. Afterwards, that's gonna be that. So the other one I think I was reading before had some text to it. There are two more stories here we will read, and let's go with this one that does not have the text. And now check to see if we have our friendly text readers in the audience or are available in a little bit, and we might read the last one with help from Andrea again or something. Pardon my burps, I can't help you right now. Where is my Discord chat? I'm just gonna look it up. Anyhow. Da da da. Da da da. Yeah. Okay, so she's not on. We're gonna continue on without her. This one by Miserable Bad 1874. Am I overreacting for walking out of a family dinner after my mother-in-law thanked herself in a speech about my graduation? Odd situation. I wonder how this is gonna go. Alright, let's go. I, 28, female, that's me, just finished my master's degree while juggling 2 part-time jobs and caring for my 3-year-old. Wow. Impressive. Very impressive. That's very nice. Very proud. Congratulations. Amazing. Amazing. I'm not even going to bother not congratulating you. Amazing. That's amazing. That's a hard job to do. You're working 3 jobs right now. Master's degree is a heck of a lot of work. Caring for a 3-year-old, even more heck of a lot of work. Juggling 2 part-time jobs. Now you're working 4 jobs at the same time. You got it done and you got your master's. That's crazy. Good job. Wow. And at 28 too. See, I'm 27. I just got to my JD situation, and that is even more a pain. If I was a parent right now, what? To be honest, I legitimately think I could not have done it if I was a parent right now. So, hats off to you. Let's move on. My husband, 30, male, and I have had a tough year, so this was a big moment for me. He planned a small dinner with family to celebrate. Sweet, right? When we sat down, my mother-in-law, in her 60s, stood up and tapped her glass like she was making a wedding toast. She went on this long monologue about how proud she was that Her guidance and emphasis on education inspired me. Then she said, she wouldn't be here if I hadn't raised such a hardworking son. Okay, alright, yeah, okay. Um, I blinked. No mention of me, my work, my late nights, my sacrifices, just her and her son. My own parents weren't there because they live overseas, so I felt even more humiliated that the one moment meant to celebrate my achievement was hijacked by the one person who's supposed to be your parent in that situation to represent the people that are supposed to be behind you and your efforts. Crazy, ridiculous situation. Hey, what up, BG? Good to see you, buddy. We're reading some Reddit things, and we still got like one more to go before we can move on to any potential gaming for the night. We have a pretty much open situation where we can play anything. I've been considering some more roguelite things to do with potentially Quip if he's coming back for something, but I think he's just popped off for a second. Anyhow, good to see you, BG. How you doing? Also, after I read out this situation, make sure you weigh in. I wonder what you'd actually do in this situation, because you seem like you would know how to make some type of joke in this situation that would absolutely destroy her. And I want to hear it if it's there, because I know you'd be able to do it, and that will be fun. Anyway, also I kind of just feel like you would just be completely blunt with it anyway, and be like, "Excuse me, that was dumb. Don't do that in front of everybody." But anyway, here we are. Here we are. Here we are. I quietly got up and left halfway through dessert. My husband thinks I was rude and made it weird. He said, she was just trying to honor you her way. I said I'm done being treated like a supporting character in my own life. Am I overreacting? My way in. Okay, so if you didn't hear from the before times what kind of situation we're in, basically, the OP here is a 28-year-old lady who is now graduated with her master's degree after working 2 jobs part-time, raising a 3-year-old son at the same time. She's got her master's now, right? And they had a small little gathering arranged by her husband. Mother-in-law stood up and was like, wow, you know, we only got here because of my guidance and inspiration, and if I didn't raise such a hardworking son, she wouldn't have been here. So I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you, my son. And that's it. That's where we are here. That's a crazy situation to me. Not overreacting is my first response to that. Chat, I would love to hear how you would lay into this lady if it were there, because I feel like none of you were gonna say you would agree with her. You're not gonna agree, and if you're there, your mother-in-law might not have said that, because no one's gonna do it like you could. Your mother-in-law is not agreeable. She's just out here. You've got one son, and no one's better than your son, and your education and inspiration are the best. No one could be inspirational like you. Anyway, that's the idea. I think not overreacting immediately, because that is literally taking you out of the equation of your own graduation there. Her toast had no part of you in there that was positive. She wouldn't be here if I hadn't raised such a hardworking son. Because the son is the one that held 2 part-time jobs and is raising the 3-year-old while getting a master's degree. Because that's what she's implying there. That either it's because of son that she's working those jobs and does those things, like the son's actions in the situation outweigh all the effort we just saw the OP go through. And that is wild. Not overreacting. That's crazy. That is mean. Absolutely cruel. Even if it's like a joke and she didn't even say it was one, that's cruel. That is not even positively intentioned. That's not how that comes across, you know? Are there some people in some families that have that kind of absolute dig into you humor that will absolutely dog you for everything and just keep going, and that's how they share their kind of inclusion into the family? Sure. My family can rag on people sometimes, but again, we literally go our way to be like, no, we would only do this one if we find you to be part of our community already, and also we're never gonna say something that crazy, that personal of dismissing your existence and attributing your experiences and accomplishments to whoever we knew. Like if I introduced you to a friend and now you two are dating, I'm not gonna say, wow, my best friend is just the best. After you've graduated from like medical school, big, my best friend's the best. You know, he's really there. If he wasn't so hardworking, you wouldn't have graduated. I'm so happy for him. Um, just ignore you on your own graduation birthday or graduation dinner party is crazy. That's disgusting work. Absolutely crazy. I need to see what the chat was saying about this, the comments at least, for this post. No matter how you handled it, from the way your husband reacted, anything you did to defend yourself would have been wrong. Apparently, your husband agreed with everything Mom said, Mommy dearest had to say, and believes he and she did all the work. Yes. I just wild to me. Just wild. 2 jobs, a kid, a master's degree. Dude, do you know how hard it is to make a doctoral thesis, my guy? Just. Anyway. She didn't say what the husband does, and we don't know if it's something even crazier, like he already went through and maybe he has a doctorate or something. I don't know. I don't think it changes. It doesn't excuse what just happened there at all. But like, you could understand why he would find it to be more of a joke in that situation. We need to know some more context on that to say that. But again, not overreacting. Most people are saying not overreact. Well, this person's saying leaving in a huff was overreacting, but your reaction to her speech, not overreacting. Le wife, did you hear the situation? Crazy, crazy. What do you think? Overreacting, not overreacting? Even though she left in the middle of like the dinner, not overreacting? Hard to say. Yeah, I guess it could be seen that way at some point. Like, I mean, they have a point saying you shouldn't have left in a huff, I guess, but well, to me, were you gonna pay for your portion of that dinner? Were they still making you pay a little bit for your own graduation dinner? If they were, you could leave in a huff. I'm fine with that. Don't stay for the rest of those things. Don't pay after somebody did that and exclude you from your own graduation dinner. But if you weren't, yeah, might as well eat some food, you know, at least get that out of it, and then just ignore her for the rest of the time and then move on. That's a small thing to say, of course, and probably not something that's on your mind, but I don't know. In that situation, I actually would have thought about that. I'm weird. So, oh, hey, BG. Wow, that is a big one. This one got you, huh? Okay. Um, let's find out. It's as simple as this. Even if the mother-in-law didn't like the wife, as soon as she married her son, they were one and the same. Right. Right. People don't seem to get that. Even in the eyes of the law, they too share anything good or bad. So if the mother-in-law can accept her and be nice, then don't say anything at all. Or if she can't accept her and be nice, then don't say anything at all. I get that. At the same time, you're a mama's boy, so nobody, including your wife, will ever trump your mom. But it still doesn't give her a right to blatantly disrespect the love of your life and the woman that you married. Right. I think, again, it's important at those points to stand up for them. And she didn't stand up for herself in the situation, but then the fact that her husband jumped in with the mom, yes, that is ridiculous. You're 30 years old. Even at that point, you know, and you have 2 kids, so you already know what it's like to take care of your family and to hopefully you've been prioritizing your family this time with your 2 kids and her taking a master's program at the same time. But it is possible that there has been more going on here that he is not considering to be hard work, like raising a kid and or 2 jobs and or master's degree at the same time. So I don't know. I don't want to assume, cannot give that without context there, but there's no world in my situation at least where I would find the devaluing of my partner's efforts, especially for a degree, which, I mean, as a person who got a degree here knows that takes a lot out of you. And a master's, if I was doing a master's right now, oh, good lord. No, no. No, no, no. Literally would have fallen out at that point. I'm like, excuse me? I'd be like, ha 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 ha, yeah, ha 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 ha. But congratulations to my wife. That's it. There's more to every situation. You only hear one side, but based off this version, yeah. Yeah, right. Thank you for the take, BG. I mean, I have to agree with that. There's nothing I can say that's going to be clearer than what you said, I believe. Yes. There's no right that the mother-in-law has to say something like that. And again, like I said before, I don't see any world where what she said could be seen in any light but cruel, or ill-intended, you know? Even if it's funny to some people, you can only find it funny because you're like, wow, that is such a mean-spirited sounding thing to say. She must be joking. Your first place your mind goes is, wow, that's mean. It must be a joke. Haha, very funny. You're not gonna first think, wow. So true. That's funny. It's funny in the fact that there's the mean-spirited absurdism to it, and that's what you have to consider. It was blatant disrespect. Yes. Dang. I appreciate all this talk, but y'all giving paragraphs, it's crazy. No, I'm kidding. Continue. If he agrees with her and feels like that as well, that's a completely separate issue from deciding to derail things and make an announcement like that when the current focus is acknowledging your wife's efforts. Exactly. This was literally about her graduation. It's literally a graduation dinner. There's ways to make things jokes, and that is not one of them. Agreed. But the idea, I mean, okay. But then, I want to know. Okay, so for chat. So then what are your thoughts on the specific act of her leaving, like halfway through dessert in that situation? Is that something that you can consider an overreaction in the moment, aside from like maybe getting up and saying, hey, mother-in-law, can I talk to you for a second over in a corner or something? Though, I mean, I guess it would feel like you're spoiling the mood at that point. Because one, you have to do that in front of everybody else, and they're gonna see you take her off to the side. But then they'll understand what that means automatically. As the people that are sitting there, you understand what that means when you want to talk to somebody off to the side, especially if they said something about you a second ago. So you would be more cognizant of the fact that that's not something that would fly after that. Like everybody would know. But if they just get up and leave, then you know for sure. So I mean, she made a statement one way or another. Would you find that to be overreacting? Would you find that to be completely reasonable, valid? I mean, I think it's valid. I don't know if it's reasonable. I don't know if it's overreacting either. So that's why I'm on the fence about that. So I want to hear some of your thoughts on that one. Would you leave? If you leave, is that okay? And meanwhile, I'm gonna jam out to this music because this is a banger. It's a real banger. Oh, that was quick. I think it was the best thing to do because if I would have stayed there, it would have been words at least. Need to leave the situation, let things de-escalate, and then reapproach the mother-in-law later on more calmer terms. Fair. I can't argue with that, actually. If you know yourself and you know that it would be easier to talk when you have some calm to you, sure. It's, again, I'm a weird person. I'm different from most of the situations. I probably wouldn't be fuming in that situation, so I'd probably be able to talk to her. But I can tell most people probably wouldn't be as calm in that situation as I would be, so I'd be pissed though, but I wouldn't be like yelling at them or stomping or getting up and leaving. I would probably be the person to just stand up and be like, hey, can I talk to you over there on the side for a second? And probably try not to make it as loud, but I mean, it's still gonna be noticeable, so they'll hopefully get the idea anyway. But that's me. Again, I'm weird. I'm probably too nice about most of these things, but that would be me. That'd be how I react to it, whether or not it's good or not. Again, for you guys on the tubes, this is another one to talk about for sure. You gotta definitely take it. this goes back into what I asked about before in the last comment, where it's like, what point is the cutoff point? You know, where do you start considering those types of situations? This one's more simple about how do you react to these types of confrontations? Would you leave? Would you confront it in a more passive manner? Would you be more active? Would you react in a aggressive manner? Would you find a way to tell somebody else? Would you redirect? Whatever else you can do. One of the things that I can do pretty well is like the redirection tactic to move the group as a whole past that insult or whatever else, and then address it later afterwards. Uh, but anyway, let me read up them chats. Hold on. Person, you can care less what people think of me, but you assume the wife was emotional. I, again, it's completely reasonable to be emotional in that situation. How you deal with it afterwards is, yes, up to you. I'm not gonna say something stupid like happiness is a choice in that situation. You gotta like control yourself. No, no, not the situation. I could completely understand, and I wouldn't find it big overacting if you could not control yourself in the situation. Like yelled at her about how ridiculous that was, because that was very ridiculous of a statement. But as it goes, time for some random ASMR, because I just completely derailed my own ADHD brain. So in those situations, you gotta think about it, what you got ahead of you, and I wouldn't let that slide. However, I wouldn't also get up and leave in the middle of the dessert. One, I probably wouldn't even order dessert because I don't really like dessert like that. But if I had to, I would definitely say something about it to her. Emotion's important there. I would feel a lot of emotions at the same time in that situation. And in that situation, what do you do? What emotions do you convey to others, and how do you do it? That's the real question. That's always the question going through my mind when I react to anybody on anything. It really is something I just consider all the time, you know? How do I relay this feeling, this concept in my mind to somebody else? It's not always easy to explain, but to me, if you don't find a way to express that, and it doesn't have to be in that situation like immediately, if you don't find a way to express it though at any point, I wouldn't like ever just let it slide completely. Don't just let it go completely, because you have to find a way to express those feelings, those thoughts, those emotions you had, and especially with somebody that you're going to be interacting with and can give you those feelings again, if they so choose that you might want to have part of your life, like a mother-in-law. That's it. I wouldn't do that. I don't think she's overreacting. Even for leaving, I would say not overreacting, because I can see, like BG said, that could possibly be the best choice for her mental in that situation, to calm down and come back later. So I wouldn't say you're overreacting. I would say you probably know yourself better than I do, and you probably can't handle it the same way I would. And that's completely up to you. That's completely valid. That's something. You can do that. Heck, I mean, I'd try to act probably quicker and maybe mess it up. Maybe I'd make a worse relationship with her because of how I acted sooner than not. So, waiting might be better. Removing yourself from a situation is a completely valid response, yeah, and that's something that I've seen a lot more people do more often. And I feel like that's been more of the mechanism for people nowadays, to remove yourself from the situation. In ways, it can help more often, and I think also it can be a detriment as well. So that's why I try more often to just confront it in some way that's not as aggressive, but confront it nonetheless at that point. But yes, sometimes you gotta remove yourself from the situation, for your own health, for other people's health, for your mental health, whatever else. Final verdict: not overreacting. Go on, go on, go on. There's the one more for the chats with the texts and things, but I honestly feel like that's a pretty good one to end that off on. At least the Reddit section of things. Needing reassurance from my fiance. Let me see how many actual pages we got in here. Okay, that's not many. I can read that. Didn't want to keep reading text because, my voice can only go so far. Um, so, and I didn't have Andrea. She's currently like not available, so I can't have anybody else reading it. I guess I could always have my wife come over and read something for us as well. But no, okay, never mind. I can't do that. She said no immediately. So, anyway, um, oh, sorry, I didn't see your chat there. Hold on. On a personal level, I've realized it can be very effective to openly acknowledge what happened, as well as saying it can be discussed later before you redirect. Since you mentioned doing that already, yes, exactly. That's more the thing that I do. But yeah, that's more the thing that I do. Though that also brings the question of like, how do you say, "Hey, we'll talk about this later," in a way that doesn't make it look like that doesn't make everybody else around just stop and have that awkward silence moment where they're like, "Ooh." Then again, that's probably the point in saying, "Hey, we're gonna talk about it later." You got to make sure they feel that kind of, but like, then my mind goes to again the situation of if I was in that situation, how would I have wanted them to say it to me, and how would I feel hearing it that way, and then having everybody be like, "Ooh, you're in trouble." I never really liked that as a thing that people do as a bystander when I was little, or even seeing that in shows. I'm like, okay, relax, stop. This got nothing to do with you. Relax. But it's effective. I think it's important to say it regardless. Put out the open that you did not appreciate that, but you don't have to like ream them out there at the moment or something. You don't gotta hit him with that squiddy, bend him over clarinet, whatever else, etc. I'm gonna move on from this analogy because you might not be fans of Glorp, or Glorb, so I'm not sure it's really gonna be effective. So moving on. Let's hear some context on our final one by Hot Thing 3213. And we're gonna do this one in a nice little announcer type voice. Am I overreacting for needing reassurance from my fiance? Okay, this is fiance with one E, so again, another one from female perspective, I assume. Yes, okay. Context goes as follows. I, 26, female, have been with my fiance, 32 male, for 8 years. We've been through plenty of ups and downs, but lately things have gotten very difficult for me. I have felt so distant from him and gotten to the point of becoming an attached, clingy person because I don't feel safe and secure with him. Interesting. Anytime I try to communicate my feelings, this is the response I get. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I don't know what to do anymore. It has broken me to the point I feel so insecure and like I'm not good enough. Alright, so let's see what their interaction has devolved into. Don't know what choice of voice to do for this, but I'm just going to read it out normally this way. So this is how they're going to be. Okay, so he's going to have... definitely going to give him a bro voice. And I'll give her a light country belle accent or something. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages. I feel so distant from you. Okay. What do you mean, okay? Say something. Why have you been so dry towards me? I'm over you and how you... What even... I'm sorry, how old did she... Hold on, I gotta go back. How old did she say this man is? 32. What even is this texting? This isn't millennial texting. This is just bad. This man just can't spell. I don't know. Alright, anyway. That pisses me off to no end. It's too much. It's too much for me. But I'm gonna read it like he writes it. So, okay, let's go. I'm over you and how you are. What an opening. Exactly. That's what he meant. Yeah, I'm over you and how you... Okay, thank you for clarifying that for me. I'm over you and how you are. I don't know. For some reason, I just kept going to, like, pirate accent for this. I'm over you and how you are. I'm over you and how you are. You just can't spell, and it just killed me. I don't know. Constantly effing watching me what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep him with the pirate voice now. I'm not. What the hell? Commenting and complaining about how I am and what I'm doing. He's really just going for it. He's just letting that go. Just flying him out there without any regard. What's it got to do with what you're doing? I'm talking about us. I don't know why you take everything as an attack. I was saying it nicely. Stop being nice, or stop being like this to me. I never mentioned what you're doing. Even when I try to talk nicely, you react like this. What the hell is nicely about it? What the hell is the point of saying it? Doesn't sound nice, though. What's this then, you effing retard? Wow. Whoa. Wow. He picked out why have you been so dry towards me as her not saying this nicely. And then called her a nice slur for that. Okay. Alright, so this guy's not having a great time. We're gonna chalk it up to a bad day, guys. He's having a bad day, okay? He lost his pet parrot and now he's gotta walk the plank. But he wants her to do it first, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt here, okay? The point is, I miss you and want to actually see you properly. Look at how you are to me. Why do you take it as an attack, instead of replying nicely with something back? What something? Just tell me. What the hell do you want me to reply? I don't want to argue or talk like this. Why can't you just talk nicely? I'm over you. What the hell did I do? What the hell do you want? For fuck's sake. Sorry, I had to say that one like that because that's the best thing in pirate voice to say. For fuck's sake. Anyway, moving on. What the hell do I want? Why are you being like this, man? You can't have a normal effing conversation without effing mentioning something. You've completely switched up. 'Cause of you, I'm freaking over it. It's all I freaking saying. Why can't I mention how I feel in a nice way? Like F off. Jesus Christ, guy. I gotta wonder how much time passes between each one of these sentences and the messages they're sending. Because the way he's saying it's like he's trying to send it all one big stack. And if that's true, he sends 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 messages in one big stack of just, 'cause of you, I'm effing over it. It's all I've been effing saying. F off. F. Oh, okay, I didn't even get that far. I gotta go back and read that one. You say I don't mention things nicely, but when I do, you react. F how you effing feel, bro. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, he's turning Scottish. Hold on. F how you effing feel. That's Irish. Hold on. F how you effing feel, bro. I'm sick of hearing about how you effing feel. What the hell is nice about it? I'm losing respect by the moment I say things. I'm losing the will to continue reading this man's chats as I want to punch something. Like F off. Like hold on, what's the shaggy voice? Like F off, man. No, that's not it. Anyway. You say I don't mention things nicely, but when I do, you react. Okay, hold on. It doesn't always have to turn out like this. What the hell's the point? You don't have to effing say something every effing time. Have an effing normal conversation. Stop effing complaining. It wasn't complaining, I was just expressing how I felt. I'm sick of hearing you express how you feel. That's all I effing hear. Just a moment of silence for this relationship. Dear Lord, we gather here today to send off into the stratosphere this man, his balls, his progeny, and any hope he had of being loved in this world. We ask that you help him to know he done messed up. Make him better, Lord, or throw the whole man out. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Alright. Classic case of resentment? I think it's worse than resentment. That's a very light way to put it. This is a classic case of this man doesn't actually want to be with you. This man doesn't even like you. This man doesn't even want to be in this relationship. This is a case of this man was only in a relationship with you because you gave him sex, and now he's just here, and so he's sticking out because he wants to keep getting that. And clearly, he's not even really sticking out because he sees he's tired of it. He's tired of hearing how you effing feel. What's wrong with you? Get out of here. I'm so tired of you. Go out of here. Walk the deck. Walk the deck. Walk the poop deck. And then go to the gangplank and jump off it. I'm tired of you. Feed the fishes. Anyway, he's absolutely done. And at this point, I would be absolutely done with him. Because that's essentially what he's saying here. It might be about your feelings, but a person is very much their feelings, and a person is very much going to continue having their feelings in a relationship. So if that's what his issue is with you, then that sounds like that's his issue. You and your relationship, and you expressing yourself in it. So, not overreacting. that's all we gotta say on that. Not overreacting. Saying more on that is kind of redundant in the fact that we all have the idea that we are able to express our opinions and emotions, and should be able to do so in relationships where we are with somebody that cares about us. And clearly, it doesn't seem like you're in one of those because he is tired of hearing it and he does not want to hear how you feel. Stop expressing it. That's what he said. And you should stop expressing it to him because he doesn't need to be there anymore. Anyway, you shouldn't be responding to a relationship like this. Exactly. I definitely don't want to sound like I'm defending this guy since he's gone off the rails. I'm just thinking about how they got here, you know? Yeah. It does start with resentment. It starts with resentment and considering the other person to be lesser than when it comes to feelings. You know, my wife. Love you. My wife is the worst person in the face. No, emotions run deep for the wifey. And they matter. We wouldn't get this far if I didn't acknowledge that, you know. People that get in relationships nowadays, back in my day, these people are getting relationships now and they don't know. You have to put in the work. Hold on, I gotta do it, Jerry Seinfeld. They don't know. You gotta put in the work. Come on. What's up with that? What's up with that? People get in their jobs and relationships and they think, you like jazz? I don't like jazz. You can't get a relationship because you like jazz. It's not gonna work. I think that actually was getting to be a better Jerry Seinfeld the more it went on, and I'm sad that that is a reality, and I'm gonna move on from that reality now. So, back to my point, and to actually be serious, relationships are where two people try to come together, right? And if you're not going to accept the emotions of the other person, then you shouldn't be trying to be in a situation where you're going to try and commit to them. You want to pay attention to them. You don't want to have them be something as a higher status to you and everybody else. Your expectations definitely go up by then, you know? Just by virtue of being in the relationship, you're expected to care more about that person. You're expected to listen to that person. At least, unless it's a certain type of BDSM relationship, in which case we're not going to get into that because that's not what we're here for. And even in those, you always respect the person. That's the whole point in those relationships. You can't do it without the trust, and without communication, without emotional validity and validation. You cannot have that trust in the relationship. So even those relationships people try to have, I'm just like speeding through this because I don't really want to get like caught by the YouTube algorithm for this. We can keep going so they don't actually have to hear me. So moving on. My point being said, no matter what relationship you're going to be in and what you want to do, of course, it goes without saying that you should value your partner. Even if it's more than just you and your partner or a situationship, you still value them. I mean, that's why they're there. I mean, even in the act of giving the sexes, right? The coitus, you know? Giving the coituses, that act itself it's a kind of statement of value. You know, you can't just no kidding. I'm kidding. My response here is not quite correlating with my actual brain. But if you want to have a relationship last, ultimately, I'm just saying, if you want to have a relationship last, you gotta acknowledge their emotions, you gotta acknowledge their feelings, and whether or not you accept it fully is between you two. But if you're in a relationship and you want it to last longer, you better darn accept that. You better darn, it doesn't mean they can't change, it doesn't mean you can't work on things, but you have to accept where they are in that situation and that the feeling exists and that it's going to be there. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, the feelings will be there. And to shut them down is even worse. And to say, for one, that you don't want to hear them is one of the cruelest things you could say to somebody that you want to be in a relationship with and that you say you care for. That is literally one of the things that messes people up from their childhood. If a parent ever says something like that, like big boys don't cry or big girls don't cry, stuff like that, shutting down emotions is something that everybody knows, and in the common zeitgeist messes people up, messes with people's personalities, their perceptions. And so if you're going to do that to somebody that you claim you value more than anybody else around you, that says a lot about your character, and a lot about where you are and how you value those around you, and if you value those around you. And in this situation, it says you don't. And that's ridiculous, brother. What's wrong with you? What is wrong? No, okay. There's something horribly not kosher. Sorry, missed the chat. Let me read it. Resentment has built up like that, and a small thing. The fitness gram pacer test is a multi-stage upper capacity test that gets progressively more difficult as it continues. Your test will begin in 30 seconds. Please line up at the start. I was gonna continue going through it, but I got stink-eyed by my wife, so I'm not gonna do that now. But don't forget, the fitness gram pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that gets progressively more difficult as it continues. And please run as long as you can, and please run in a straight line. Your test will begin on the word start. On your mark, get ready, start. Back to reading the chat. Resentment is built up like that. A small thing is immediately blown up to a 10, and that's when I've seen many people act in ways they normally wouldn't, completely disregarding their partner, and thus understanding it doesn't excuse it, but it can help you avoid getting to that point. Exactly. Man is Claude. Man is what a Claude? Man is blood Claude over here. Yes. Understanding how it could get to this point is important for... I'll call it the autopsy of the relationship, because it's dead now. You done killed it. You killed her emotionally, and that in doing so, you have now turned the rest of the content I'm making and the internet that heard about it against you. So have fun with that. Your prospects are now gone. Good luck. If anybody finds out this was you, good luck. Anyway. Yes. You do want to understand, even if it's you being the person on the receiving portion of that, you have to understand if there was anything that you missed, anything that you can do to express that you want this type of communication in your next relationships, or even in your current one. If you still, for some reason, want to stay with this guy, you have to take the time to understand how they could get to that mental state, and whether you can walk it back from that, why it's happened, and how you can have that communication improve so that this doesn't happen again. Because that's not a healthy reaction and not a healthy way to live with someone else. Having that feeling of them, that you don't want to regard them in any way, shape, or form. And as always, remember, that's all you're talking about. I'm tired of hearing your effing emotions. Get out of here. Goodbye. No, I'm done. I'm not going to end with that. I'm never going to end with that. Unless. Yes, that's how we should end the stream. Yes, perfect. Yes. Yes, yes. Get out of here. I'm tired of hearing your emotions, chat. Yes. Anyway. So, the new job for you commenters, you guys on YouTube. When you hear this, you've gotta go down there and tell me the following. What would you do if you were in this situation? How quickly would you throw out this man? And if you don't know, well, you better find it out, Missy, because I'm coming down there in that comment section and I will be looking. Alright. Enough being weird. Thank you for listening to this Reddit stuff with me. I do have to take time and eat, so I will do that. We had some good talks here, and to finish and to ultimately ignore my mic just like wobbling and yeeting itself. Just boom, 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 boom. That's fun. Anyway, final verdict: not overreacting, underreacting massively, massively underreacting. Good talks, good stuffs. Thanks for being here, guys. For all you lurkers on out there listening to me and listening to the sound of my voice, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you were relaxed. Hope you had fun, and hope you come back. And for those of you that are here and contacting and talking and chatting, I enjoyed you. Thank you for being here. Please have a good day. And as always, remember, you are loved, you're special, you're beautiful, and you're worthy of love. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Guys, I might come back later after I eat and play some games, maybe with Quip, and we'll play some nice roguelites or something. I haven't heard from Andrea. I don't think she's going to be streaming today, so I can't hop on that. If she is, she has gone AWOL for a little bit. So, if she's streaming, I might hop on that. You might see me in there. But for the most part, we had a good Reddit time. I'm going to upload this to the tube. Feel free to hop on in there and give me some comments and watch times, likes, comments, subscribes, all them things. You know what to do. Y'all there on the YouTube. Thanks for being here. Take it easy. I love you. Peace. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Keep on moving on until there's nothing else to move on to when we're gone. Can you hear the hum of the hummingbird? Can you smell the breeze carrying leaves that it lured? Can you cry for your mother and your father too? Can you breathe until there's no air left?